Stop. Don't move. Listen to me very carefully. Right now, your mind is wide open. You are walking through a war zone with no armor. Every complaint you listen to, every insult you take personally, and every ounce of cheap validation you crave is a virus. You are infected. You are leaking energy, focus, and power because you lack a filtration system. Today, we close the breach. Today, we install the Neural Firewall. This is not a self-help book. This is a system update for your brain. Are you ready to go offline to the noise and online to your power? Let the installation begin. Chapter 1. You are complicit in your own destruction. Welcome to the wake-up call. Most people walk through life believing they are victims of their environment. They believe they are victims of their toxic bosses, their complaining spouses, the angry news cycle, and the rude stranger on the street. They tell themselves a story. They say, I am a positive person, but the world is just so negative. It drains me. It exhausts me. If that is your story, I need you to stop right now. I need you to delete that story from your hard drive, because it is a lie. Here is the truth, the brutal, uncomfortable truth that you need to hear before we can build anything worth saving. You are not a victim of negativity. You are a volunteer. You are not being attacked. You are leaving the gate open. Every single time you feel drained, every time you feel offended, every time you feel less than capable because of what someone else said or did, you made a choice. You chose to accept that data. You chose to process it. You chose to let it run on your operating system. You are complicit in your own destruction. Let's look at the mechanics of this. How does negativity actually enter the mind? It does not break in, it does not kick down the door. It knocks, and you answer. Imagine your mind is a high-security facility. It contains your focus, your energy, your creativity, and your peace. These are your most valuable assets. They are the currency of your life. Outside the walls of this facility, there are thieves, there are hackers, there are viruses. These viruses look like your coworker who complains about the weather every morning. They look like the news headline designed to make you fearful. They look like the family member who reminds you of your past failures. They come to the door of your mind, and what do? You open the door. You invite the thief in. You offer them a seat. You make them tea. You listen. You nod. You say, yeah, that is terrible. You engage with the virus. You download the file. And then 10 minutes later, when you are tired, when you are anxious, when you can't focus on your work, you ask, why is this happening to me? It is happening because you allowed it. You left the door unlocked. You have a choice. You always have a choice, but you have been conditioned to forget that choice exists. Let's look at a real-world scenario. You are at work. You are focused. You are in a flow state. Then he walks in. The office complainer, the energy vampire. He stops at your desk, he sighs, he starts talking about how unfair the management is, how bad the coffee is, how tired he is. What do? The average person, the person without a neural firewall, does what they are socially conditioned to do. You want to be nice, you want to be polite, so you turn your chair, you make eye contact, you nod your head, you validate his misery. You say, I know, right? It's crazy. In that moment, you think you were just being a good colleague. You think you were just making conversation. You are wrong. In that moment, you have agreed to be a trash can. He is carrying a bag of emotional garbage. He is looking for a place to dump it so he doesn't have to carry it anymore. He sees you. You smile. You open the lid. He dumps it in. He walks away feeling lighter. You walk away feeling heavy. You walk away smelling like garbage. Why? Because you took it. You accepted the transfer. You have a choice. You could have kept typing. You could have given a flat, uninviting look. You could have said, I'm busy right now. But you didn't. You prioritized his need to complain over your need to protect your mind. You left the door unlocked. You invited the thief in. This is the first rule of the Neural Firewall. You must accept total responsibility for what enters your mind. If you get food poisoning, it is because you ate something bad. If you get mental poisoning, it is because you consumed something bad. You cannot control what people say. You cannot control what people do. You cannot control the economy, the traffic, or the mood of your partner. But you can control the port of entry. When someone insults you, that insult is just noise. It is just sound waves vibrating in the air. It has no power. It is just data. It only becomes hurt when you decide to download it, decode it, and believe it. If I speak to you in a language you do not understand and I insult you, you do not get offended. Why? Because you didn't download the meaning. You didn't accept the file. You need to treat negativity in your own language the same way. Stop validating people's dysfunction. Stop nodding when people complain. Stop reading the comments that you know will make you angry. Stop watching the videos that you know will make you fearful. You are doing this to yourself. It is not about them being toxic. It is about you being porous. It is not about the world being loud. It is about your walls being thin. You have a choice. Every second of every day, you are standing guard at the door of your mind. Every interaction is a security check. When the gossip comes, choice. Do you listen or do you walk away? When the self-doubt comes, choice. Do you entertain it or do you delete it? When the outrage comes, choice. Do you click or do you scroll past? Most people are running on autopilot. Their security settings are set to public. Anyone can walk in, anyone can write on their walls, anyone can trash the place. You are going to change your settings to private. You are going to change your settings to restricted. This requires you to be honest with yourself. It requires you to kill the victim mentality. As long as you believe you are a victim, you are powerless. Victims cannot build firewalls. Victims have no walls. But if you admit, I am doing this, I am the one letting this happen, then you suddenly have power. Because if you were the one opening the door, you are also the one who can lock it. That is the key. You hold the key. You have always held the key. You just forgot to turn it. Stop proving to people that you are a good listener by listening to their toxicity. Stop proving you are informed by consuming panic-inducing news. Stop proving you are humble by accepting insults. You don't need their permission to close the door. You don't need their permission to protect your energy. You don't need their permission to stay focused. This is your life. This is your mind. It is the only house you will ever truly own. And right now, you are letting strangers walk in with muddy boots and track dirt all over your white carpets. Get angry about that. You should be offended, not by them, but by your own lack of discipline. Be offended that you treated yourself so poorly. Be offended that you valued their comfort over your own sanity. You invited the thief in, but now you know his face. Now you see the game. The game is attention. Everyone wants your attention. Negativity feeds on attention. If you starve it, it dies. If you feed it, it grows. From this moment forward, you are no longer a passive observer. You are the guardian. You are the gatekeeper. You have recognized the breach. You have admitted that you were the one who left the door unlocked. That is the first step. It is the most painful step, but it is the most necessary step. You are not a victim. You are a volunteer, and today you are handing in your resignation. We have identified the problem. The system is open. The security is non-existent. You are letting everything in. Now that we have accepted responsibility, we need a protocol. We need a strict, non-negotiable set of rules for what gets in and what stays out. We need to install the filter. We need to learn how to look at the world with a default setting of no. You have awakened to your complicity. You have stopped blaming the external world. Now we must build the internal defense. Chapter 2. The Zero Trust Protocol. In the world of high-stakes cybersecurity, there is a concept that saves corporations from total collapse. It is called zero trust. The old way of security was simple. Build a wall around the perimeter. Once someone was inside the wall, an employee, a vendor, a guest, they were trusted. They could move around freely. They could access files. They could open doors. That model failed. It failed because threats don't always look like threats. Sometimes the threat has a badge. Sometimes the threat is already inside. So the industry shifted. They adopted the Zero Trust Protocol. The rule is simple. Never trust, always verify. It doesn't matter if the request comes from the CEO's computer. It doesn't matter if it looks friendly. It doesn't matter if it's labeled urgent. The system assumes everything is a threat until it proves otherwise. The default answer to every single request is no. You are going to apply this same protocol to your mind. Right now, your default setting is allow. You walk through the world with your Bluetooth on, pairing with every device that comes near you. You hear a headline and you believe it. You hear a rumor and you repeat it. You feel a sudden surge of anxiety and you assume it belongs to you. You are operating on a legacy system. You are operating on trust, and that is why you are infected. That is why you are tired. From this moment on, we are switching the operating system. We are initiating the Zero Trust Protocol. Here is the new rule. Every piece of information, every opinion, every emotion, and every notification attempting to enter your brain is a potential hostility. Its default status is blocked. It must prove its value to you before you let it in. You have a choice. You can be a public park where anyone can walk their dog and leave a mess, or you can be a vault. Let's look at the biggest breach in your daily life, your phone. You pick it up. You see a notification, a news alert, crisis in the economy, outrageous scandal, 10 reasons you are failing. What do? The old you, the victim, clicks. You read. You absorb. You let the panic rush into your chest. You let the anger spike your cortisol. You didn't even ask to see it. It just appeared, and you opened the door. That ends today. Under the Zero Trust Protocol, you look at that phone differently. You don't see news. You see a marketing algorithm designed to hack your amygdala. You see a company that makes money only when you are terrified or enraged. They are knocking on your door. They are asking for your attention. They are asking for your peace. And you say, access denied. You look at the headline. Does this help me achieve my mission today? No. Access denied. Does this opinion from a stranger on the internet improve my life? No. Access denied. Is this gossip about a celebrity relevant to my bank account or my family? No. Access denied. You must become ruthless. You must become a machine of rejection. Skepticism is your security software. Skepticism is the firewall. When information tries to enter, you stop it at the border. You interrogate it. Who sent you? What is your purpose? Are you here to help me build, or are you here to make me crumble? If the answer isn't clear, if the answer isn't I am here to help, then you hit the block button. You scroll past, you turn it off, you walk away. Real-world application. The doom scroll. You know what this is. You sit down for 5 minutes, and suddenly it's been an hour. You are scrolling through videos, posts, and arguments. You feel your energy draining. You feel a low-level buzz of anxiety. That is a hack. You are being hacked in real time. The content creators, the platforms, the advertisers, they are not your friends. They are not entertaining you. They are extracting resources from you. They are mining your attention like it is gold, because it is. When you scroll without a filter, you are handing them the keys to your house. You are saying, come in, take what you want, leave the trash on the floor. Stop it. When you feel the urge to check your phone without a reason, catch yourself. That impulse is a probe. That impulse is a test of your defenses. Say it out loud if you have to. Access denied. This isn't just about media. This is about people. This is about conversations. Someone comes up to you and says, "Did you hear what happened? It's awful." Your old setting would say, "No, tell me, what happened?" You lean in. You want the drama. You think you are connecting. The zero trust protocol says, pause, verify. You ask yourself, do I need to know this? Will knowing this make me better, or will this just fill my head with noise that I can't do anything about? If it's just noise, you cut it off. You say, I don't need to hear that right now. I'm focused on something else. Access denied. You might think this is cold. You might think this makes you disconnected. Good. Be disconnected. Be disconnected from the drama. Be disconnected from the hysteria. Be disconnected from the artificial urgency that everyone else is addicted to. Connection to the wrong things is just distraction. You cannot be connected to your purpose if you are connected to everyone else's panic. It is not about being ignorant. It is about being selective. It is not about hiding under a rock. It is about building a fortress. In a fortress, the gates are not welded shut. They open, but they only open for the king. They only open for the supplies that the fortress needs. They do not open for the enemy. They do not open for the wandering beggar who wants to sleep in the courtyard.
You are the commander of the fortress. You decide who enters. This requires discipline. It requires you to be awake. Most people are sleepwalking, and while they sleep, the world dumps its garbage into their dreams. You must wake up. You must stand at the gate. When a thought comes into your head, a thought of doubt, a thought of fear, you treat it like a stranger. Just because the thought is in your head doesn't mean it is your thought. It might be an echo of your father. It might be a phrase you heard on TV. It might be an insecurity planted by a teacher 20 years ago. Don't trust it just because it's there. Verify it. Is this thought true? Is this thought helpful? Does this thought move me forward? If the answer is no, access denied. Do not argue with the thought. Do not fight it. Do not wrestle with it in the mud. Just deny it access. Watch it dissolve. You have a choice. You can believe everything you think and be a slave to your neuroses, or you can question everything you think and be the master of your mind. That's the key. The questioning, the pause, the verify. You don't need their permission to ignore them. You don't need the world's permission to opt out of the madness. Every time you say access denied to something that doesn't serve you, you reclaim a piece of your power. You reclaim a kilowatt of energy, and that energy adds up. Imagine what you could do if you weren't carrying the weight of the world's problems. Imagine how sharp your focus would be if you weren't constantly processing the data of 1,000 angry strangers. You would be dangerous. You would be unstoppable. This is the Zero Trust Protocol. It is not a suggestion. It is a survival strategy. For the next 24 hours, I want you to treat every input as a threat. Every text, every email, every headline, every comment. Look at it with suspicion. Ask it for its ID. And if it doesn't have the proper clearance, you slam the gate. Access denied. Access denied. Access denied. Clear the buffer. Free up your RAM, because you are going to need all that processing power for what comes next. You have secured the perimeter. You have stopped the external bleeding. You have learned to block the noise from the outside. But now we have to deal with the threat that is already inside, the threat that you built yourself, the threat that masquerades as a need. You have stopped trusting the world. Now you must stop trusting your own need for applause.
Chapter 3. Delete the file called validation. You have secured the perimeter. You have learned to view the world with suspicion. You have installed the Zero Trust Protocol. But none of that matters if you leave the back door open. In cybersecurity, a backdoor is a hidden entry point that bypasses normal authentication. It is a secret passage left by the developer or created by a hacker that allows them to walk right into the system whenever they want, undetected. You have a backdoor in your mind. It is wide open. It is unguarded. And the worst part? You are the one keeping it propped open. That back door is your need for validation. It is the deep, desperate, pathetic need to be told, "Good job." It is the hunger for applause. It is the thirst for a like, a nod, a compliment, or a gold star. You think wanting validation is human nature. You think it is normal to want to be appreciated. I am telling you it is a fatal system error. As long as you crave validation, you are a slave. You are handing the remote control of your emotional state to other people. You are saying, "Here, take this controller. If you press the blue button, I will feel happy. If you press the red button, I will feel miserable." Do you realize how dangerous that is? If you need a compliment to feel good, you will accept an insult to feel bad. They are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. If their opinion has the power to lift you up, it automatically has the power to destroy you. You have a choice. You can be a puppet, dancing whenever someone pulls the string of praise, or you can cut the strings. Let's look at the behavior that ruins you. You take a photo. You achieve a milestone. You buy a new car. You finish a project. What is the very first thing you do? You broadcast it. You post it on social media. You tell your friends. You wait. And then the sickness starts. You check the phone. You refresh the feed. You count the likes. You read the comments. Did they see it? Do they like it? Why didn't he like it yet? Is it not good enough? Look at yourself in that moment. You are a beggar. You are standing on the street corner with a cup in your hand, begging strangers to drop a coin of attention into your cup so you can feel valuable for 5 minutes. It is weak. It is repulsive. And it destroys your neural firewall. Because when you ask for validation, you are admitting that you do not trust your own judgment. You are admitting that your opinion of your own life is not enough. You need witnesses to make it real. Stop it. Delete the file. The core mantra of the unbreakable mind is this: I do not require witnesses. I am the judge and the jury. Say that again. I do not require witnesses. If you work out in an empty gym and nobody sees you lift the heavy weight, did you still get stronger? Yes. If you work late and save the project and nobody thanks you, did you execute with excellence? Yes. If you are a good person and nobody writes a post about it, are you still good? Yes. The value of the act is in the act itself. It is not in the audience's reaction to the act. But you have been trained like a dog. You have been trained to sit for a treat. You have been trained that good behavior equals reward. The world is not your kindergarten teacher. The world does not care. And the people who do give you validation, they are often manipulating you. Flattery is the weapon of the manipulator. If I want to control you, all I have to do is figure out what you're insecure about and then compliment you on it. If you're insecure about your intelligence and I say, "Wow, you are so smart," I own you. I have bypassed your firewall. I am inside the system. You must become immune to praise. When someone gives you a compliment, you can say thank you. That is politeness. But internally, you must feel nothing. You must be indifferent. You must think, I already know I did a good job. Your confirmation is redundant. I've verified this data myself before you even walked in the room. That's the key. Self-verification. You must become the auditor of your own life. You must set your own standards, and those standards must be higher than anything the world would demand of you. If you impress yourself, that is enough. If you meet your own code of conduct, that is the only approval that matters. I am the judge and the jury. This is not about being arrogant. Arrogance is actually just loud insecurity. Arrogance screams, "Look at me," because it is terrified of being ignored. This is about quiet confidence. It is about the silence of the professional. The professional does the work because the work needs to be done. The amateur does the work so they can talk about the work. You have a choice. Be the professional. Be the operator who moves in silence. Here is your new behavioral instruction, the validation fast. For the next 30 days, I want you to kill the announcement. When you have a great idea, tell no one. When you hit a personal record in the gym, take no picture. When you do something kind for a stranger, never mention it to a soul. Do it and then sit in the silence of it. You will feel an itch. You will feel a burning desire to pull out your phone and share it. You will feel the urge to slip it into conversation. "Oh, by the way, I just..." Bite your tongue. Swallow that urge. Let it burn. That burning sensation, that is the addiction leaving the body. That is you rewiring your brain to run on internal power instead of external fuel. It's not about modesty, it's about discipline. It is about proving to yourself that you exist without an audience. When you stop needing their applause, you stop fearing their boos. When you stop chasing the like, you stop fearing the hate.
You become dangerous because you cannot be leveraged. You cannot be bought with flattery, and you cannot be broken by criticism. You are off the grid. Think about the most powerful people in history. Did they ask for permission? Did they wait for a consensus? Did they check the comments section before they led the army? No, they acted, they moved, they decided. They were the judge and the jury. You are currently leaking energy. You are pouring your vitality into a bottomless pit called other people's opinions. It will never be full. You will never get enough validation to finally feel secure. It is a drug, and your tolerance only goes up. The only way to win is to stop playing. Uninstall the application. When you look in the mirror, that is the only opinion that counts. Does the person in the mirror respect you? If the answer is yes, then the rest of the world can scream, cry, or applaud, and it makes zero difference to your heart rate. I do not require witnesses. This is the ultimate freedom. It is the freedom from the tyranny of the crowd. The crowd is fickle. One day they love you, the next day they cancel you. If your self-worth is tied to them, you are on a roller coaster that ends in a crash. Get off the ride. Stand on solid ground. Your rules, your standard. If you did the work, the value is locked in. It is immutable. Nobody can take it away from you because nobody gave it to you. That is the fortress. That is the neural firewall in action. You are deleting the backdoor. You are welding it shut. You are cutting the wires that allowed the outside world to manipulate your voltage. You are now a closed system of self-generating power. But there is a catch. A closed system must be clean. If you lock the doors, but you are locked in with toxic elements, you will still rot. You have stopped seeking validation from the crowd. You have stopped trusting the news. You have taken responsibility. Now we have to look at the specific individuals who are currently standing in your living room, the people you call friends, the people you call family. Some of them are not just neutral.
Some of them are active agents of destruction. They are not just noise, they are malware, and they are eating your RAM. You have deleted the file called validation. Now we must conduct the audit. We must scan the contacts list, and we must be ready to hit delete again. Chapter 4. The Vampire Audit. Identifying Human Malware. We have locked the doors. We have closed the windows. We have deleted the need for validation. Your system is beginning to stabilize. But now we must turn the lights on inside the house and look at who is sitting on your couch. This is the hardest chapter for most people. This is where you will want to resist. You will want to make excuses. You will say, but I've known him for 10 years, or, but she's my sister, or, but he means well. I don't care. The virus doesn't care how long it has been on your hard drive. It just corrupts. You are about to perform a brutal assessment of your relationships. We call this the Vampire Audit. Here is the reality of human interaction. There is no neutral. Every person you interact with is either a charger or a drainer. A charger adds voltage to your system. When you leave a conversation with them, you feel clearer, stronger, and more capable. They push you, they expand you. A drainer subtracts voltage. When you leave a conversation with them, you feel tired, you feel heavy. You feel a subtle layer of fog wrapping around your brain. They complain, they gossip, they doubt, they demand. There is no middle ground. If they are not adding value, they are occupying space. And in a high-performance system, unused space is corruption. It is bloatware. It is human malware. You have a choice. You can keep feeding these vampires your limited energy, or you can cut the line. You might think, well, I can just ignore them. No, you can't. If you have malware running in the background of your computer, it slows down the processing speed even if you aren't looking at it. The friend who texts you with drama every Tuesday? Malware. The colleague who stops by to whisper about layoffs? Malware. The partner who makes you feel guilty for working on your dreams? Malware. They are eating your RAM. They are stealing the energy you need to build your empire. It is time to run the audit. I want you to look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Visualize their faces. Now ask yourself one question. After I see this person, do I feel ready to conquer the world, or do I feel like taking a nap? If the answer is nap, you have a problem. You have a breach. Now let's deal with the most difficult category, the family member. This is the legacy software that you can't easily uninstall. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a sibling. They know your buttons because they installed them. They use guilt like a weapon. They say things like, you've changed, or you think you're better than us now, or why don't you call more? You feel the guilt, you feel the obligation. You engage, you explain yourself, you defend yourself, you apologize. And just like that, you are drained. You are back to zero. You think you are trapped. You think you have to endure this because it's family. You are wrong. You have a choice. You do not have to cut them out of your life entirely. I am not telling you to divorce your family or abandon your friends. That is often impossible or unnecessary. But you must change their access level. In IT security, there are admin privileges. An admin can change settings, delete files, and install software. They have full control. Then there are guest accounts. A guest can look, but they cannot touch. They cannot change the core system. Your problem is that you have given admin privileges to people who should be guests. You have given your guilt-tripping mother the password to your emotional control panel. You have given your pessimistic friend the ability to rewrite your self-belief script. Stop it. Revoke their admin privileges. They are now a guest in your reality. What does this look like in the real world? It means you stop engaging with the content of their drama. When the family member calls and starts the guilt trip, the old you, the admin level access, would react. You would get emotional. You would fight. The new you view them as a guest. You observe. They say, "You never come visit. You don't care about us." You say, "I hear you are upset. I am focused on my work right now. I will see you on Sunday." Tone, flat. Emotion, zero. You do not explain. You do not justify. You do not argue. Revoke their admin privileges. They are now a guest in your reality. You are physically present, but emotionally you are behind bulletproof glass. They can scream at the glass, they can bang on the glass, but they cannot touch you. They cannot change your state. That's the key, emotional distance. It is not about being mean, it is about discipline. It takes discipline to stand there and let someone try to push your buttons and simply refuse to let the button work. It takes discipline to love someone from a distance because you know that up close they suffocate you. You don't need their permission to set a boundary. You don't need their permission to end the conversation. You don't need their permission to protect your mental health. If they get angry that they can no longer control you, that is their problem. That is their malfunction. Do not make it yours. When you downgrade a vampire from admin to guest, they will panic. They will try harder. They will ramp up the drama. This is called an extinction burst. It is the last-ditch effort of the malware to regain control. Do not flinch. Repeat the phrase, revoke their admin privileges. They are now a guest in your reality. They are allowed to visit your life, but they are not allowed to run it. They are allowed to have opinions, but those opinions are now spam mail, automatically filtered to the trash folder. You must become ruthless about this categorization. Imagine you are building a championship sports team. Would you keep a player who scores points for the other team just because you've known him since high school? No, you would cut him. Your life is the championship. Your mind is the team. If you are surrounded by people who constantly talk about how hard life is, how the economy is bad, how rich people are evil, or how dreams are unrealistic, you will fail. You will absorb their worldview through osmosis. You are breathing their exhaust fumes. Get away from the exhaust pipe. If you cannot physically remove them, you must mentally evict them. When they speak, imagine you are a scientist observing a specimen. Ah, interesting. This subject is displaying classic symptoms of victim mentality. Note the complaining tone. Note the lack of accountability. Dissect them. Do not join them. This transforms you. You stop being a participant in their chaos and become an observer of it. Revoke their admin privileges. They are now a guest in your reality. This frees up massive amounts of processing power. Suddenly, you aren't spending 3 days recovering from a 1-hour lunch. Suddenly, you aren't carrying the weight of your parents' unfulfilled expectations. You are light. You are mobile. You are secure. You have cleaned the house. You have identified the drainers. You have revoked their access. You have established a quarantine zone around your psyche. But there is a final layer of defense we have not discussed. You have handled the external noise. You have handled the external people. But what about the noise that feels like it is coming from you? What about the sudden spike of fear, the wave of anger, the flash of sadness? Most people think their emotions are commands. They feel sad, so they act sad. They feel angry, so they yell. This is the final vulnerability. You are mistaking the dashboard warning lights for the steering wheel. We need to fix your relationship with your own biology. We need to learn how to look at an emotion, acknowledge it, and then ruthlessly ignore it if it doesn't serve the mission. Chapter 5. Emotions are noise, not signal. We live in a culture that worships emotion. You are told to follow your heart. You are told to honor your feelings. You are told that if you feel something deeply, it must be true. I am here to tell you that is dangerous advice. If you follow your feelings, you will end up broke, alone, and miserable. Why? Because your feelings are impulsive. Your feelings are erratic. Your feelings are often just biological noise masquerading as wisdom.
Your feelings are not the captain of the ship. They are the weather. And you do not steer the ship based on where the wind wants to blow you. You steer the ship based on the compass. This chapter is about the most critical update to your neural firewall, the emotional spam filter. The argument is simple. Most of what you feel is irrelevant. You read that right. Irrelevant. Just because you feel fear, it doesn't mean you are in danger. It usually just means you are doing something new. Just because you feel anger, it doesn't mean you have been wronged. It usually just means your ego was scratched. Just because you feel tired, it doesn't mean you need to quit. It usually just means you are recalibrating. The amateur treats every emotion as a command. I feel sad, so I will stay in bed. I feel angry, so I will yell. The professional treats every emotion as data, and usually it is bad data. You have a choice. You can be a slave to your biochemistry, or you can be its master. That's the key. Differentiation. There is a massive gap between feeling and acting. The firewall lives in that gap. Let's look at a real-world example. Road rage. You were driving to work. You were focused. Suddenly, a car cuts you off. They almost hit your bumper. What happens? Your biology takes over. Your heart rate spikes. Your hands grip the wheel. You feel a surge of hot, violent anger. You want to honk. You want to scream. You want to speed up and teach them a lesson. This is a biological glitch. Your brain thinks you are a caveman being attacked by a predator. It is dumping adrenaline into your system to help you fight a tiger. But there is no tiger. There is just a guy in a Toyota who didn't check his blind spot. If you react, if you scream, if you let that anger ruin your morning, you have failed. You have clicked the pop-up ad. Think of your mind like a web browser. You are trying to read an important article. That is your life's mission. Suddenly, a pop-up appears. Flashing red lights. You are angry. Click here. Do you click it? Do you stop reading your article to engage with a scam advertisement? No. You close it. You don't get mad at the pop-up. You don't argue with the pop-up. You just close it and keep reading. That is how you must treat your negative emotions. They are pop-up ads. Observe, don't absorb. Observe, don't absorb. When the anger hits, you do not say, I am angry. You say, I am experiencing a sensation of anger. Do you hear the difference? I am angry is an identity. It means you and the anger are one. I am experiencing anger is an observation. It means you are the sky and the anger is just a cloud passing through. You watch the cloud. You say, look at that. My heart is beating fast. My jaw is tight. Interesting. And then you do nothing. You let it pass, and it will pass. Every emotion has a lifespan of about 90 seconds if you do not feed it. But if you feed it, if you start telling yourself a story about how disrespectful that driver was, you reset the clock. You keep the pop-up open. Observe, don't absorb. Let's take this to the workplace. You receive an email from a client or a boss. It is rude. It is dismissive. It criticizes your work unfairly. Your stomach drops. Then the heat rises. You feel defensive. You feel the urge to type a furious reply. You want to set the record straight. You want to win. The amateur types the email. The amateur hits send. And the amateur deals with the fallout for the next 3 weeks. The firewall user stops. You feel the hit. You acknowledge the hit. Okay, that hurt. My ego is bruised. I feel the urge to attack. Observe, don't absorb. You look at the emotion like it is a specimen in a jar. This is an adrenaline response to a perceived threat. Is the threat real? No. Is my life in danger? No. Will typing an angry email help my career? No. So you delete the emotion. You close the pop-up. You do not type. You wait. You let the wave crash against your wall, and you stay dry. This is not about suppression. Suppression is when you push the feeling down and pretend it isn't there, and it rots you from the inside. This is not suppression. This is filtration.
You see the feeling clearly, you admit it is there, but you deny it access to your motor functions. You deny it access to your voice. Observe, don't absorb. It is not about being a robot, it is about discipline. It is about the discipline to recognize that your biology is old, but your goals are new. Your biology wants you to survive, to fit in, and to defend your territory. Your goals require you to thrive, to stand out, and to ignore petty conflicts. There is a conflict between your hardware and your software. The firewall resolves that conflict by overruling the hardware. You don't need your emotions' permission to act correctly. You don't need to feel like working to work. You don't need to feel confident to speak. You don't need to feel calm to act calmly. You just do it. You override the system. I feel fear. Access denied. Do it anyway. I feel tired. Access denied. Do it anyway. I feel offended. Access denied. Move on. This is the superpower of the elite. While everyone else is drowning in their own moods, swinging from high to low, paralyzed by anxiety or blinded by rage, you are steady. You're a rock in the middle of a hurricane. People will wonder how you do it. They will say, "Don't you care? Don't you feel anything?" You will look at them and say, "I feel everything. I just don't let it vote." That's the key. Emotions do not get a vote in the boardroom of your life. They can offer an opinion, but they do not hold shares. You are the CEO. You make the executive decision. This takes practice. You will fail. You will snap at your spouse. You will get mad in traffic. When you do, catch yourself immediately. Do not wallow in guilt. Guilt is just another useless emotion. Observe, don't absorb. I lost control. I absorbed the noise. Next time I will filter. Reset, restart. The more you practice this, the quieter the noise becomes. The pop-up ads start appearing less frequently because your brain realizes you aren't clicking on them anymore. You start to develop a state of high-definition clarity. Because you aren't looking at the world through the red lens of anger or the blue lens of sadness, you see things exactly as they are. You see the rude email not as an attack, but as a sign of the sender's stress. You see the traffic not as a personal insult, but as a result of overcrowding. You see the failure not as a tragedy, but as a data point for improvement. Emotions are noise. Logic is the signal. Purpose is the signal. Turn down the volume on the noise so you can hear the signal. You have a choice. You can spend your life reacting to every biochemical glitch your body produces, bouncing around like a pinball. Or you can build the firewall. Observe, don't absorb. Observe, don't absorb. Say it when you wake up. Say it when the pressure hits. Say it when the world tries to drag you down into the mud of reaction. You are above the mud. You are separate from the feeling. You have now learned to filter the internal noise. You have learned that just because you feel a scream building in your throat, you do not have to let it out. But simply not reacting internally is only half the battle. You need a weapon for the external world. You need a way to show the world that their noise cannot touch you. You need a physical behavior that signals absolute, terrifying control. You have mastered the internal silence. Now you must master the external silence. Chapter 6. The Art of the Cold Stare. You have learned to filter the noise inside your head. You have learned to verify your own thoughts. But now we must deal with the noise that is screaming in your face. We are moving from internal software to external hardware. We are moving to the physical battlefield. Scenario: you are in a meeting. You are at a family dinner. You are negotiating a deal. Someone attacks you. They make a snide comment about your performance. They question your integrity. They raise their voice. What is your default reaction? If you are like 99% of the population, your default reaction is defense. You jump in. You interrupt. You say, "No, that's not true." You explain. You justify. You get louder to match their volume. You think you are fighting back. You think you are being strong. You are wrong. You are losing. When you argue, you are validating their attack. You are telling them your opinion matters enough to upset me. You are stepping into the mud wrestling pit with them. And when you wrestle a pig, you both get dirty, but the pig likes it. Stop wrestling. I am going to teach you the most aggressive, dominant, and destructive move in social dynamics. It is not a shout. It is not a clever comeback. It is not a threat. It is absolute, terrifying silence. It is the art of the cold stare. Here is the physics of negativity. It requires a surface to stick to. If someone throws a ball at a wall, it bounces back. If someone throws a ball into a black hole, it disappears. You are going to become the black hole. When someone attacks you, they are expecting resistance. They are banking on it. They need your reaction to fuel their next sentence. They need you to get angry so they can say, "Whoa, calm down, I was just joking." They want to destabilize you. If you give them nothing, absolutely zero, they fall forward. They stumble. They panic. This is the technique. Be the gray rock. Be the blank wall. Imagine a gray rock on the side of a mountain. If you scream at the rock, what does it do? Nothing. If you kick the rock, what does it do? Nothing. You hurt your foot. Does the rock care? No. It is dense. It is immovable. It is boring. You must become that rock. Let's break this down tactically. This is a behavioral instruction. I want you to visualize this exactly. You are in that meeting. The colleague, let's call him Dave, tries to undermine you. Well, if you had actually done the research, you'd know that. The insult lands. The room goes quiet. Everyone looks at you. They are waiting for the fight. They are waiting for the explosion. Do not speak. Do not flinch. Do not roll your eyes. Do not sigh. Turn your head slowly. Lock eyes with him. Look right at the bridge of his nose. And do nothing. Count to 3 in your head. 1, 2, 3. Maintain the silence. Let the silence hang in the air like a thick fog. Let it become heavy. Let it become eckward. That eckwardness is your weapon.
Most people are terrified of awkward silence. They will do anything to fill it. If you stay silent, Dave will start to panic. He will start to backtrack. He will stutter. I'm just saying for the project. He is crumbling. You haven't said a word and he is losing. Be the gray rock. Be the blank wall. After the 3 seconds of silence, which will feel like an eternity to him, you have a choice. Option A, you simply turn your head back to the papers and continue speaking exactly where you left off, as if he never spoke. You delete him from reality. Option B, you say very calmly, "Are you finished?" and then you move on. That's the key. You do not engage with the content of his trash. You only engage with the fact that he is interrupting the mission. This is not about being passive-aggressive. Passive aggression is weak. Passive aggression is sighing and looking away. Passive aggression is pouting. This is active indifference. This is looking a threat in the eye and deeming it unworthy of a response. It signals one thing. You are not a threat to me. You are a nuisance. You are a fly buzzing in the room. I am not going to fight the fly. I am going to ignore it until it dies. It's not about being rude. It's about discipline. It takes massive discipline to hold that stare. Your heart will be racing. Your biology will be screaming, "Say something, defend yourself." Access denied. Hold the line. Keep the face neutral. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders. If you show anger, they win. If you show hurt, they win. If you show nothing, you win. Be the gray rock. Be the blank wall. Let's apply this to your personal life. Let's say you have a partner or a family member who likes to pick fights. They know your triggers.
They push a button and you explode. They get a reaction. Next time they push the button, give them the cold stare. They say, "You always do this. You're so selfish." You stop. You look at them. You breathe. You hold the silence. They will say, "Why aren't you saying anything? Are you ignoring me?" You say, calmly, "I am waiting for you to say something productive." Boom. You have shifted the frame. You are no longer the accused. You are the judge. You don't need their permission to stop arguing. You don't need their permission to disengage. You don't need to attend every argument you were invited to. When you use the cold stare, you are reflecting their energy back onto them. Have you ever yelled into a canyon? The echo comes back. When they yell at you and you are a blank wall, they are forced to hear the echo of their own stupidity. They hear how nasty they sound. They see how crazy they look. You become a mirror, a cold, hard, unbreaking mirror. And people hate looking in mirrors when they are being ugly. This protects your neural firewall. If you argue, you open the port. You let their virus in. You start processing their logic. Wait, am I selfish? Maybe I am. Stop. Be the gray rock. The rock does not ask if it is selfish. The rock just sits there. This allows you to conserve your energy. Arguments are expensive. They cost you focus. They cost you cortisol. They cost you recovery time. Why are you spending your expensive energy on cheap people? You have a choice. You can be a chaotic storm, reacting to every wind, or you can be the mountain. The wind howls around the mountain, but the mountain does not move. This week, I want you to hunt for an opportunity to use this. I want you to look for a moment of conflict. When the barista gets your order wrong and gives you attitude, when the coworker makes a snarky remark, when the internet troll leaves a comment, do not type back. Do not snap back. Look at them, or look at the screen. Pause. Delete. Move on. Feel the power of that silence. Feel the control it gives you. In that silence, you are declaring your sovereignty. You are saying, my internal state is not determined by your external behavior. That is the ultimate freedom. However, there is a trap here. You cannot be a gray rock if you are surrounded by people who are constantly hitting you with hammers. You can withstand it for a while, but eventually the erosion will happen. The cold stare is a tactic for immediate defense. It is a shield you use in battle. But you cannot live on a battlefield forever. You cannot sleep in a war zone. You have learned how to block the attacks. You have learned how to verify your thoughts. You have learned how to freeze out the enemy. But now, we need to look at where you are sleeping. We need to look at the environment you retreat to when the battle is over. If your safe zone is filled with pollution, your firewall will eventually fail. You cannot heal in a sewer. You have mastered the personal defense. Now, we must master the environmental design. We must build the perimeter not just around your mind, but around your physical life.
Chapter 7. Quarantine your inner circle. We have spent the last 6 chapters building software. We have written the code for the Zero Trust Protocol. We have installed the validation deletion. We have trained you in the art of the cold stare. But there is a fundamental law of engineering that we cannot ignore. You cannot run pristine, high-performance software on a server that is sitting in a sewer. If the physical machine is corroding, if the wires are rotting, if the room is filled with toxic gas, the software will crash. It doesn't matter how good your code is, the environment defeats the system. You are the machine. Your environment is the server room, and for many of you, your server room is a dump. You are trying to be positive, focused, and ambitious while sitting in a room full of people who are negative, distracted, and lazy. You are trying to build a neural firewall while physically immersing yourself in a contagion zone every single day. It is time to look outside your head and look at your physical reality. It is time to establish a quarantine. This is not about being introverted. It is not about being antisocial. It is about hygiene.
If you walked into a hospital room marked biohazard, would you take off your mask and take a deep breath? No, you would seal your suit, you would protect yourself, you would get out as fast as possible. Yet you walk into environments every week that are biohazards for your mind. Let's look at the real-world example that destroys millions of dreams, the Friday night complainers. You know this group. Maybe they are your friends from college. Maybe they are your coworkers. Every Friday you go to the bar. You sit down, you order a drink, and then the ritual begins. They start talking. What do they talk about? They talk about how much they hate their jobs. They talk about how broke they are. They talk about how the system is rigged. They talk about other people, who got fat, who got divorced, who failed. You sit there, you nod, you sip your drink, you think, I'm just relaxing. I'm just being a good friend. This doesn't affect me. You are lying to yourself. You are inhaling their exhaust. You are swimming in their waste. Human beings are designed to synchronize. We have neuron mirrors in our brains. When you look at someone who is stressed, your cortisol levels rise. When you listen to someone who is defeated, your testosterone drops. You biologically match the people around you. So when you sit in that circle of losers, you are becoming a loser. It is happening on a cellular level. You are downloading their operating system through osmosis. You have a choice. You can stay in that room and slowly rot, or you can stand up and walk out. Protect the perimeter. Seal the breach. You might say, but I'll be lonely. Good. Be lonely. Loneliness is the price of admission for greatness. Loneliness is the tax you pay for leaving the herd.
Most people are terrified of loneliness, so they choose toxicity instead. They would rather sit in a room full of people who drag them down than sit in an empty room and face themselves. That is weakness. That is a lack of discipline. It's not about loneliness. It's about discipline. It is about the discipline to say, I value my future more than I value this cheap socialization. You must create a quarantine zone around your life. This means you have to physically remove yourself from environments that do not serve the mission. If your lunch table at work is a gossip factory, you stop eating there. You go eat in your car. You eat in the park. You eat alone with a book. You seal the breach. If your family gathering is a contest of who can be the biggest victim, you stop going to every single one. You go for an hour, you say hello, and you leave. You do not stay for the main course of negativity. You protect the perimeter. If your gym partner spends more time looking at his phone and complaining about his knees than lifting weights, you fire him. You train alone. You put your headphones on and you lock in. You don't need their permission to leave the room. You don't need their permission to change your schedule. You don't need their permission to outgrow them. People will get offended. They will say, you're acting distant. You look them in the eye and you say nothing. Or you say, I'm just focused right now. They won't understand. They can't understand. They are still inside the matrix. They are still plugged into the hive mind of mediocrity. You have unplugged. Of course, you look strange to them. You are awake and they are asleep. Do not try to wake them up. That is not your job. Your job is to keep yourself awake. Protect the perimeter. Seal the breach. Let's talk about the empty chair. Many of you are afraid to cut these people off because you are afraid of the empty chair. You think, if I stop hanging out with Dave, who will I hang out with? So you keep Dave. You keep the seat filled with a warm body, even though that body is toxic. You must become comfortable with the empty chair. An empty chair is potential. An empty chair is a vacuum, and the universe abhors a vacuum. If you create space, eventually the right people will come to fill it. But if the chair is occupied by a negative person, the positive person cannot sit down. You are blocking your own upgrade by holding on to the outdated version. Clear the room. If that means you spend your Friday nights alone working on your business, reading a book, or going to sleep early, so be it. That is a clean environment. That is a sterile field where your ideas can grow without infection.
This is a physical restructuring of your life.
Look at your phone. Look at your group chats. Is there a group chat that is constantly blowing up with memes, gossip, and stupidity? Why are you still in it? Every time it pings, it breaks your focus. Every time you read it, you lower your IQ. Leave the group, mute the chat, archive the thread, protect the perimeter, seal the breach. Look at your living space. Is it chaotic? Is it messy? Your external world reflects your internal world. If your house is a mess, your mind is a mess. Clean it up, throw things away. Minimalism is a firewall for your attention. The fewer things you have to look at, the more you can see. You have a choice. You can live in a frat house, or you can live in a fortress. A fortress is exclusive. Not everyone gets in. The drawbridge is up. When you quarantine your inner circle, you are raising the drawbridge. You are signaling to the world that access to you is a privilege, not a right. That's the key. Access is a privilege. You treat your time like it is worthless, so everyone else treats it like it is worthless. They steal it. They waste it. When you start quarantining, when you start saying no, when you start leaving early, you send a signal of high value. You tell the world, my time is expensive. My energy is expensive. If you cannot afford it, you cannot be here. Suddenly, the quality of people around you changes. The complainers fall away because they can't feed on you anymore. The vampires go looking for an easier victim. And who is left? The builders, the operators, the people who respect the mission. But first, you have to brave the desert. You have to walk through the period of isolation. Do not fear the desert. The desert is where the prophets are made. The desert is where the weak die and the strong are forged. Embrace the silence of your quarantine. In that silence, you will finally hear your own voice. You will finally hear the code that has been running in the background of your mind, drowned out by the noise of the crowd. And once you hear that voice, you might realize something terrifying. You might realize that the crowd wasn't the only problem. You might realize that the voice inside your own head has been corrupted too. You have cleaned the environment. You have secured the perimeter. Now it is just you and your thoughts in a quiet room. And if your thoughts are telling you that you are weak, that you are a fraud, that you will fail, then the firewall is useless. The hacker is already inside. We need to go into the kernel. We need to rewrite the script that you read to yourself every single morning. Chapter 8. Rewrite the source code. Self-talk override. You have cleared the room. You have silenced the external critics. You have quarantined the toxic relationships. You are finally sitting in the silence of your own fortress. And in that silence, you hear it. It's a whisper. It's a murmur. It's a voice that sounds exactly like you, but it hates you. You're going to fail. You aren't smart enough for this. Who do you think you are? Remember what happened last time? The call is coming from inside the house. The hacker is inside the building. You have spent all this energy building a firewall against the outside world, but you left the mainframe unprotected. You are running corrupted source code. This chapter is about the most critical engineering task of your life, rewriting the source code. Your brain is a biological supercomputer. It runs on a loop of commands. These commands are your thoughts. Science tells us you have tens of thousands of thoughts every single day. If 80% of those thoughts are self-doubt, fear, and hesitation, then you are programming yourself to crash. You are literally writing the code for your own destruction. You think these thoughts are the truth. You think, I am just being realistic about my flaws. You are wrong. These thoughts are not the truth. They are malware. They are legacy scripts installed by your parents, your teachers, your bullies, and your past failures. They are old files that are clogging up the system.
You have a choice. You can let the malware run until it destroys the hardware, or you can overwrite it. Notice I said overwrite, not delete. You cannot simply delete a thought. If I tell you, don't think about a pink elephant, what do? You think about a pink elephant. The brain does not understand the command don't. You cannot fight darkness with a vacuum. You have to fight darkness with light. You have to replace the bad code with new code. This requires aggressive affirmation. I am not talking about soft, fluffy, everything will be okay positive thinking. I am talking about military-grade command line entry. I am talking about force-feeding your brain a new reality until the old reality chokes and dies. Here is the protocol. It is called the self-talk override. Every time a negative thought bubbles up, you catch it. You identify it as a system error, and you immediately, forcefully speak the override command. Let's look at a real-world example. You are about to walk into a high-stakes presentation. You are about to launch a product. You are about to ask for the sale. The old code, the malware, starts running. I hope I don't mess this up. I hope they don't ask me a question I can't answer. I'm so nervous. If you let that code run, you will stutter. You will sweat. You will fail. Because your brain is executing the command, mess this up. You must catch it. Freeze the frame. Say to yourself, system override, new command accepted. Then you insert the new code. I am the expert in this room. I am incapable of failure, only learning. They are lucky to hear me speak.
You might think, but that's a lie. I am nervous. I don't care if it feels like a lie. You repeat it until it becomes the truth. It's not about feeling, it's about discipline. It is about the discipline to hijack the controls. When you type a command into a computer, the computer doesn't ask, "Are you sure? Do you really feel like this?" No, it executes the command. Your brain is the computer. You are the programmer. Let's try another one. Old code. I am too tired to work out. I am exhausted. I deserve a break. Result, you sit on the couch and get weak. System override. New command accepted. New code. I do not negotiate with fatigue. Energy is generated by action. I am a machine that runs on movement. Result, you stand up, you move. Do you see the difference? You are not asking your brain for permission, you are giving it orders. That's the key. You have been treating your mind like a democracy. You have been letting every insecurity cast a vote. Your mind is not a democracy. It is a dictatorship, and you are the dictator. You dictate the reality. When you look in the mirror and you see something you don't like, the old code says, I look terrible, I'm getting old. System override, new command accepted. New code, I am a work in progress. I am building a masterpiece. Every day I am optimizing. This feels unnatural at first. It feels fake. Your brain will resist. It will say, who are you kidding? That resistance is just the old software fighting the update. Ignore it. Keep typing. Repetition is the mother of learning. How did you learn the lyrics to your favorite song? Repetition. How did you learn to drive? Repetition. How did you learn to hate yourself? Repetition. You told yourself you weren't good enough 1,000 times until you believed it. Now we are going to reverse the process. We are going to brainwash you. Yes, brainwashing is bad. No, brainwashing is inevitable. You are either being brainwashed by the world, the news, and your insecurities, or you are brainwashing yourself with your own ambition. You have a choice. Wash your own brain. Scrub it clean. When you wake up in the morning, do not lay there and let the default thoughts load. The default thoughts are usually anxiety and dread. Launch the override immediately. I am awake. I am alive. I am dangerous.
Today is my hunting ground. Say it out loud. Let your ears hear your voice. There is power in the acoustic loop. When you speak it, you make it physical. System override. New command accepted. You must become vigilant. You are the system administrator. You are watching the logs. If a thought comes in that says, "They are judging me," you flag it. System override. I do not require their permission. I am the judge. If a thought comes in that says, "It's too risky," you flag it. System override. Risk is the price of entry. I pay it gladly. This is a constant battle. In the beginning, you will have to do this 50 times a day. You will feel like you are fighting a war against your own head. Good, you are. You are fighting a civil war against the weak version of yourself, and the weak version is fighting for its life. It wants to survive. It wants you to stay small, stay safe, and stay quiet. Do not show it mercy. Kill the weak self with the new code. System override. New command accepted. You don't need the world to believe in you yet. You need you to believe in you. And belief is not a magic feeling that falls from the sky. Belief is a structure you build, brick by brick, word by word. Every time you override a negative thought, you lay a brick. Every time you reframe a failure as a lesson, you lay a brick. Every time you choose power over pity, you lay a brick. Eventually, you build a wall so high that the old insecurities can't climb over it. This is how you rewrite the source code. You stop saying, "I'll try." You start saying, "I will." You stop saying, "I can't." You start saying, "I must." You stop saying, "It's hard." You start saying, "I am stronger." Language dictates reality. If you change your language, you change your life. Stop describing your life as a tragedy. Stop describing yourself as a victim. Stop describing your problems as insurmountable. You are the narrator. If you don't like the story, rewrite the line. System override. New command accepted. Do this for 30 days. Do not let a single negative thought pass through the firewall without being challenged. Catch every single one. It will be exhausting. It requires massive mental energy. But what is the alternative? The alternative is letting the virus win. The alternative is living a life of fear and regret because you were too lazy to police your own mind. You have the tools. You have the command codes. You have cleaned the environment. You have secured the perimeter. And now you are rewriting the internal script. You are becoming a unified, integrated system of power. But here is the warning. When you install new high-performance software and you put it on a high-speed server and you start running it at maximum capacity, the system is going to heat up. There will be friction, there will be pressure, there will be struggle. And your old self will call this pain. Your old self will say, "Stop, this hurts, something is wrong." You need to understand that pain is not an error message. Pain is not a sign to stop. We need to reframe your relationship with suffering. We need to teach you that when the system heats up, that is not a malfunction. That is the engine working. Chapter 9. Pain is just system calibration. We live in a world that is obsessed with comfort. We are addicted to convenience. We have temperature-controlled rooms, soft chairs, food delivered to our doorsteps, and drugs to numb every possible sensation of discomfort. We've been conditioned to believe that pain is bad. We've been taught that if something is difficult, it means something is wrong. We've been taught that stress is a disease that must be cured. This is the single greatest lie of the modern age, and it is the reason you are stuck. You are interpreting the signals of growth as signals of danger. When your muscles burn in the gym, is that an injury? No, that is the fibers tearing so they can rebuild stronger. When your brain hurts while learning a new language or a new skill, is that stupidity? No, That is neuroplasticity in action. It is the physical sensation of your brain rewiring itself. If you run away every time you feel resistance, you are aborting the upgrade. You are canceling the installation at 99% because you got scared of the spinning wheel. You need to completely reframe your relationship with struggle. The pressure creates the diamond. The fire forges the steel. This is not poetry. This is physics. This is biology. Nothing in this universe grows without resistance. A tree needs wind to strengthen its roots. If you tie a tree to a stake so it never moves, its roots will remain shallow and the first storm will rip it out of the ground. You are that tree. You have been staking yourself to comfort. You have been avoiding the wind, and that is why you feel weak. That is why you feel fragile. You have a choice. You can seek comfort and atrophy, or you can seek resistance and evolve. This chapter is about system calibration. When an engineer builds a high-performance engine, they don't just put it in the car and drive it gently. They put it on a dyno. They rev it to the red line. They put it under maximum load. They want to see where it breaks. They want to see where the heat builds up. This is called stress testing. When you face a crisis at work, when you face a breakup, when you face a financial collapse, you are being stress tested. The universe is putting you on the dyno. Most people panic. They scream, "Why is this happening to me? This is unfair." The firewall operator does not panic. The firewall operator looks at the pressure gauge and says, "Good, we are calibrating." That's the key. Calibration. Pain is not a punishment. Pain is data. It tells you where your weak points are. It tells you where the armor needs to be reinforced. Let's look at the real-world example of physical training. You are in the gym, you are under the bar, you are on repetition number 9, and you need to get to 12. Your lungs are burning, your legs are shaking, your mind is screaming, "Rack the weight, it's too heavy, stop." The amateur listens to the scream. The amateur racks the weight. The amateur stays the same. The professional hears the scream and recognizes it as the sound of the system upgrading. The burning sensation is not death, it is the feeling of weakness leaving the body. You say to yourself, "This is the upgrade process," and you push. You grind out the 10th rep, the 11th, the 12th. In that moment of maximum struggle, you are not suffering, you are building. The pressure creates the diamond, the fire forges the steel. Now, apply this to your mind. You are working on a project. The deadline is tomorrow. The client is demanding. The technology is failing. You feel that tightness in your chest. You feel the adrenaline spiking. You feel the urge to quit or to cry. Stop. Do not label this as stress. Do not label this as anxiety. Those words make you a victim. Label this as high-load processing. Your mental computer is running a complex algorithm. The fans are spinning loud. The temperature is rising. This is normal. This is what high performance feels like. If you want to operate at a higher level than the average person, you must be able to handle a higher thermal load. You don't need the situation to be easy. You need your cooling system to be better. It's not about the pain. It's about the discipline. It is about the discipline to stay in the fire until the work is done. When you are in the middle of the struggle, I want you to use a specific verbal override. I want you to say it out loud. I am being tested and I will pass. Or even better, more weight. Ask for it. Invite it. When life hits you hard, look it in the eye and say, "Is that all you got? Put more weight on the bar." This attitude terrifies the enemy. It terrifies your competition. When they see that pain makes you stronger, they realize they cannot beat you. If hurting you only makes you better, you are invincible. The pressure creates the diamond. The fire forges the steel. Think about the neural firewall we have been building. A firewall is useless if no one ever tries to hack it. You don't know if the code works until the virus attacks. So when the attack comes, when someone insults you, when a plan fails, when you get rejected, do not be upset. Be grateful. Ah, finally, a test. Let's see if my code holds up. Did you use the cold stare? Did you delete the validation file? Did you override the self-talk? If you failed, good, now you know where the bug is.
Go back, rewrite the code, try again. This is the loop. Test, fail, fix, upgrade. Test, fail, fix, upgrade. There is no endpoint where you sit on a beach and drink margaritas forever. That is a fantasy for children. The goal of life is not the absence of problems. The goal is better problems. You want the problem of managing millions of dollars, not the problem of not having enough for rent. You want the problem of having too many opportunities, not the problem of having none. You want the problem of muscle soreness, not the problem of joint decay. All of these are forms of pain, but one form of pain leads to glory and the other leads to the grave. You have a choice. Pick your pain. If you choose the pain of discipline, you avoid the pain of regret. And let me tell you, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. The pressure creates the diamond. The fire forges the steel. Stop looking for the easy way out. The easy way is a trap. The easy way leads downhill. Embrace the friction. Friction creates heat. Heat creates energy. When you are tired, tell yourself, my battery is expanding. When you're confused, tell yourself, my database is restructuring. When you're overwhelmed, tell yourself, my processor speed is increasing. This acts as a psychological buffer. It prevents you from spiraling into victimhood. It keeps you in the driver's seat. You are the mechanic of your own mind. When the engine knocks, you don't abandon the car. You tune it. You calibrate it. This is the mindset of the elite. Look at the Navy SEALs. Look at the Olympic athletes. Look at the billionaires who started from nothing. Do they complain about the work? No, they love the work. They are in love with the grind. They have rewired their brains to release dopamine not when they finish, but when they struggle. They get high on the effort itself. You must achieve this state. You must learn to love the burn. Because once you love the burn, you cannot be stopped. You will walk into the fire willingly, with a smile on your face, because you know that on the other side of that fire is the new you. The pressure creates the diamond. The fire forges the steel. So the next time you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, do not shrug it off. Square your stance, tighten your core, and lift it. That weight is there to make you strong. That weight is your gift. You have now accepted the pain. You have stopped running from the fire. You have learned to use the struggle as fuel for the engine. You have installed the protocols. You have cleaned the environment. You have rewritten the code. You have calibrated the system through stress. Now, something shifts. You stop doing the work. You stop trying to be strong. The struggle disappears, not because life got easier, but because you got so strong that the weight feels light. You enter a state of flow. You enter a state of automatic defense and automatic attack. The firewall is no longer a program you run. It is who you are. Chapter 10. The Unbreachable State. We have reached the final stage of the installation. For the last 9 chapters, you have been doing the work. You have been manually running the protocols. You have been consciously blocking thoughts, filtering emotions, and auditing relationships. You have been like a soldier constantly patrolling the wall, rifle in hand, watching for the enemy. That was the training phase. That was the manual override. But you cannot live your entire life in manual mode. It is too slow. It consumes too much energy. The goal of the Neural Firewall is not to spend your life fighting negativity. The goal is to reach a point where the fight is no longer necessary because the defense is automatic. We are moving from doing to being. We are entering the unbreachable state. In this state, positivity is not something you force. Confidence is not something you have to hype yourself up to feel. These things become your default setting. They are the only remaining options because the negative simply cannot enter. Imagine a submarine deep underwater. The pressure outside is crushing. It is enough to snap steel like a twig. But inside the submarine, the air is calm. The crew is drinking coffee. The captain is speaking softly. Why? Because the hull is unbreachable. The pressure outside is irrelevant to the peace inside. You are that submarine. You are that hull. I am the fortress. I am the gatekeeper. Nothing enters without permission. Say that to yourself. Feel the weight of it. This is the state of total emotional autonomy. Most people are emotional slaves. They are thermometers. A thermometer has no brain. It simply reflects the temperature of the room. If the room is hot, the thermometer goes up. If the room is cold, the thermometer goes down. They are victims of their environment. In the unbreachable state, you are not a thermometer. You are the thermostat. You set the temperature. If the room is chaotic, you remain cool. If the world is panicking, you remain steady. You force the environment to adjust to you, not the other way around. Let's look at a real-world scenario, the crisis. Maybe it is a market crash. Maybe it is a company-wide layoff. Maybe it is a family emergency. Watch the crowd. Look at their eyes. They are wide with fear. Their breathing is shallow. They are running around like headless chickens, spreading rumors, amplifying the panic. They are porous. The chaos has entered them, and they have become the chaos. Now, look at yourself. In the unbreachable state, your pulse is slow, your breathing is deep, your face is relaxed. You are walking through the fire, but you are not burning. You are not reacting, you are calculating. What is the problem? What is the solution? What is the next move? You see the panic as data, but you do not download the file. I am the fortress. I am the gatekeeper. Nothing enters without permission. People will look at you in these moments and think you are crazy. They will think you are detached. They might even get angry at your calmness. Why aren't you freaking out like the rest of us? They want you to join their misery because it validates their fear. Do not give them that satisfaction. It's not about apathy. It's about discipline. It is the discipline to realize that your internal state is the one asset you cannot afford to lose. If you lose your head, you lose the war. In this state, insults bounce off you. They don't even register as insults anymore. They register as noise. Rejections bounce off you. They register as redirection. Failures bounce off you. They register as feedback. You have a choice. You can be a leaf in the wind, blown wherever the storm takes you, or you can be the mountain. The wind howls, the rain lashes. The mountain does not move. The mountain does not care. That's the key. You stop caring about the things that do not matter, so you can care intensely about the things that do. You are preserving your energy for the mission. When you are unbreachable, you become dangerous. You become a force of nature. Because while everyone else is spending 50% of their energy managing their anxiety and fighting their doubts, you are applying 100% of your energy to the objective. You have zero drag. You have zero friction. But be warned, this state requires maintenance. The unbreachable state is not a permanent achievement like a trophy on a shelf. It is a biological condition that must be fed. You feed it with the zero trust protocol. You feed it with the Vampire Audit. You feed it with the self-talk override. If you get lazy, if you stop the discipline, the cracks will appear. The rust will set in. And one day, under pressure, the hull will breach. You must remain vigilant. I am the fortress. I am the gatekeeper. Nothing enters without permission. Think about the grand masters of any craft, the martial artist, the surgeon, the pilot. When they are performing, are they frantic? No, they are still. Their movements are economical. They don't waste a single motion. They are in a state of flow. The unbreachable state is flow applied to your entire existence. It is flowing through a traffic jam without road rage. It is flowing through an argument without losing your temper. It is flowing through a financial loss without losing your sleep. You accept reality exactly as it is, and then you reshape it to your will. You don't need the world to be nice to you.
You don't need the path to be smooth. You have shock absorbers. You have armor. You have the engine to climb any grade. You have stopped asking for an easy life. You have started asking for a strong back. And now you have it. Look at how far you have come in this audio. You started as a volunteer for destruction. You started with the door unlocked, inviting the thieves in. You started with a need for validation, running on other people's batteries. Now you are a closed system. You are self-generating. You are self-validating. You are self-correcting. You have taken the reins of your own psychology. This is the ultimate freedom. True freedom is not having $1 billion. True freedom is the ability to sit in a room by yourself or in a crowd of enemies and be completely, utterly at peace because you know who you are. I am the fortress. I am the gatekeeper. Nothing enters without permission. This is your mantra. This is your reality. When you walk out your door tomorrow morning, you are not just a person anymore. You are a stronghold. You are a sovereign nation of one. Let the world throw its bricks. Let them throw their insults. Let them throw their chaos. You will catch the bricks and build a higher wall. You have done the work. You have paid the price. You have installed the firewall. The system is secure. The connection is stable. The power is online. You are no longer trying to be strong. You simply are strength. We have built the machine. We have tested the machine. We have perfected the machine. Now there is only one thing left to do. We need to sign off. We need to send you out into the world with a final command, a final charge that will ring in your ears long after this audio stops. The installation is complete. Now we execute. The download is complete. The Neural Firewall is now active. But listen to me. Software requires power to run. You are that power. Every single day, the world will try to hack you again. They will try to find a crack in your wall. They will beg for your attention. They will demand your outrage, and they will try to sell you your own insecurity.